Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Martha Marcy May Marlene. It's a film that focuses on a girl played by Elizabeth Olsen who escapes from a cult and starts living with her sister and her sister's husband. She's disappeared for about 2 years with this cult. No one actually knows where she's been. Then she starts recollecting what happened to her in the cult while she's there, and she's slightly having trouble deciphering, reality from memory. The film's structure is actually kind of probably one of the better things about it, just because she'll reference something before and you're like, why is she worried about acorns falling on the rooftop, or why did she just go swimming naked, or why did she do this or do that? And then later the film will show you where she picked that up from the cult. I like that element to it because I think it really engaged me as a viewer, maybe a little too easily, but I definitely like that. It gets really intense and it gets really gripping. Like the idea of the past and like whether this is memory or that she's having trouble showing what's reality and what's not. None of that was really that surreal, I think. And I think maybe that might have, something like Bellflower, I think, did a lot of what this movie was trying to do better. I think the performances are what's really so great about it, as particularly I think John Hawkes gives this really strong, commanding, like he's the leader of this cult, and he's very strong and fearful and spooky, and like he has definitely a presence about him. When you hear about like any cult, you always hear that the leader has this like presence and power over all these people, and he definitely projects that throughout his performance, which is pretty astounding. Because John Hawkes, I just saw him in Contagion. He's like, my daughter's sick, will you help me, Lawrence Fishburne? He was always playing these nice guys, and to see him do kind of like a completely different character so incredibly well, I always liked him as an actor. It's very surprising because I didn't know he could get away with something like this, and he did it remarkably well. Elizabeth Olsen is very good. I don't think without a strong performance in this could really work quite as well. Her character's like really going through this huge change, kind of cultural shift from when she goes into the cult and when she comes out, and how jarring that is. And I think she was really good at portraying that, and kind of how she's kind of losing reality. She was good at doing that performance. Whether the film executed well or not, that's not really her fault. It's like a little too indie for its own good. Especially, the whole idea of having, this thing that's not in sequence, it's kind of, you're seeing the past and the present at the same time. That was really something that you'd see in an art house 5-10 years ago. That's really not in vogue anymore. So this is kind of a little odd, because I think this probably would have fit in better in 2006. But it's being released in 2011. It just got so intense. There's a certain part where like it's slowly moving and you're kind of learning about the cult and things, but then there's a point where I got so into it and it was so tense and frightening, almost like a horror movie. I don't think, I feel like I saw The Skin I Live In, I saw this, I'm seeing like, films that are kind of horror movies, but not, I wouldn't describe it as a horror movie, but it's kind of close to that, spooky, tense feeling, because you see all these horrible things this cult's doing, not just to other people, but to each other. And it is spooky. And that, are they going to come for her? You're kind of convinced they are. And, regardless of its lame kind of end of Inception-y, obvious ending, there are two great performances in this. And it's not like, I really don't like when people are like, it's such a great movie and it's just about performance. I think this is better than just a typical Oscar performance movie, but that's pretty much the best thing about it. But that's not the only reason to like it, So if you have seen Martha Marcy May Marlene and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to. If you're wondering, why is it called that? I'll explain. This is a little spoilerish, so if you don't want to know, it's not going to really ruin anything. Martha is her original name. Marcy May is her name in the cult, and Marlene is the name that all the women say when they're on the phone. So that is why it's called Martha Marcy May Marlene. There you go. I don't think that ruins anything. Realistically, it really doesn't, but